Hey everyone, welcome to Photography Chat Season 2, Episode 24. We're going to have Jess Hobbs on with us here shortly. So yeah, let's get Jess on and we can get going with the chat. Hope everyone is having a good week so far. It's been kind of like crazy here in Vancouver with the heat. And there is Jess. So let's get her in here. All right. Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. Yourself?
I can't complain too much.
Yeah. Is my audio all right?
Your audio is fantastic.
Excellent.
How are things in Montreal?
Well, actually, I'm on the farm because we moved out of the city last year just before the pandemic hit.
Okay.
We moved to my fiance's family farm. So
Oh, nice.
that's that's where we're at now. So things are dry, hot. We're watering our fields by hand until we get our irrigation pump situation set up, and
Oh man,
yeah.
sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, I think this is the first like not 12-hour day I've had in like 3 weeks. So this is really exciting.
I'm glad to have a bit of a lighter day today.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny because when we set this up to do it today, um, of course, I had no idea, no way of knowing that it was going to be game six between Montreal and Vegas. And yeah, in the playoffs, and I'm like, oh man, but it's okay. It's all good.
Well, hopefully we won't keep you too long, so you can go
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
hear the Habs on.
Ch Chatting with friends is is much better, anyways.
You can put it on like the background and like just keep it.
No, well, my fiance, he's gonna be watching the game, and so he's also gonna watch this. So he'll have like an ear on both, and so if you see random numbers pop up every now and then, it might be him giving me the score.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a very good fiance.
Yeah, yeah, he's the best.
Right. So, what prompted you guys to get out of the city?
It's kind of been a bit of a long time coming, sort of thing. I think we always knew we weren't going to live in the city full time forever. As much as we love the cultural scene and being part of it and everything, we're both very outdoorsy. We love the woods. We love camping. We love traveling in vans and stuff. So for us, we always wanted kind of like a slower pace life later.
Okay.
We wanted the fast paced stuff in our later 20s and earlier 30s, and now I don't want to say we're settling down, but we're kind of slowing down, I guess. Trying to find like a mellow balance. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with slowing things down a little bit,
No, no.
enjoying
Yeah.
enjoying life a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you work 12, 13-hour days, it's a little hard to just sit back and enjoy life. But, we have campfires at night after a long day, and it's fresh air all the time, blue skies, big fields, lots of photo chance opportunities and stuff. So it's
So,
good. It's good.
the country
Yeah.
life hasn't affected your photography at all, then, eh?
The country life, no. The drought, yes. um, and I guess probably just a bit of like the general like malaise of the whole like pandemic thing and stuff. I think it kind of hit everyone. We're all hitting that point where we're going like a little stir crazy.
Yeah,
We're all itching to just get out there and travel or see something else. So it has actually been a little while since I've picked up a camera, unfortunately. Um, but I mean, as far as photography goes, like my favorite place to be is in the woods, or the rural landscapes, the barns and the silos and sunsets and stuff. So that part hasn't been affected. I just need to find the time to actually go out and do it. So yeah.
that's fair. What
Yeah.
kind of stuff do you guys farm?
So we grow herbal teas. So stuff like chamomile, echinacea, um, lemon balm, a bunch of different plants that we have. We've got, I forget how many fields, how many acres it is. But my favorite one that we grow actually is passion flower,
Okay.
which is technically a tropical, but we've managed to grow it in our fields outside. So that's that's a lot of fun. It's such a beautiful plant. It's probably my favorite one that we grow. Flowers are gorgeous, and I love harvesting it and stuff. So.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and then we dry it all, package it up, and our stores in Montreal order when they need it, and we deliver it, and everyone's happy.
That's cool. So you guys sell direct
Yeah,
to stores then? You don't have like online
yeah.
selling?
No, 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 no. It's a little too much to handle. Like a lot of people have asked us if we're ever going to go into selling online, but then you're constantly checking. Did we get orders today? Do we have to package things up? And then Canada Post, I mean, man, they've just been sucking the big one during this pandemic. They have not helped us much, we'll say. They've actually lost some of our packages, so
No.
we like to rely on ourselves. We're we're kind of like that DIY, self-sufficient as much as we can sort of thing going on. So we like to deliver it. Plus, we get to see the stores, talk to the people and stuff, and that means a lot to us. So
Yeah, to have that
yeah,
sort of like one-on-one human connection.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
That's very cool. Well,
Yeah.
I had no idea that you guys were tea farmers. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, tea farmers. It's like his parents, so it's Jody's parents who bought the farm. They bought it 40 years ago, and they were the first farm, or one of the first, to go organic in Quebec back in 1973. So they actually started the whole organic farming revolution that happened back then. They were like head of it. They were the ones that helped start the certification boards, like all that stuff. They were really at the forefront of organic farming, and so they've done a bunch of stuff. They used to do vegetables. Like I've been hearing stories about like fields of peas, leaks everywhere, all this stuff. And over time, markets shifted and stuff, and we just ended up doing teas.
That's
Yeah.
very cool.
I came in like Jody and I met 16 years ago. And so once I met once the relationship settles in and you meet the family and all that, I've been around on the farm for about 15 years, and working like more seriously for the last 10.
Okay.
And yeah, so I came in like just as they were kind of transitioning more and more into the tea part and like the retail sales and stuff. So it's been an interesting journey. If you'd asked me at like the age of 15 if I was going to be a farmer, that was not even like on my radar. I don't know how many kids grow up thinking like, yeah, I'm going to be a farmer when I grow up, and it's a totally, totally valid occupation. I don't want to take that away from anyone, but I just never thought I would end up here. I didn't see life going that way.
Life is interesting sometimes that way.
It is, and I mean, I love it. I love being able to work with my hands. Get dirty. My nails are super short. My hands are permanently stained with dirt from like April until November. I can only start wearing nail polish in like December. My
That's like,
feet are the worst. My feet are just the worst. Because okay, I'm going to admit something here. I'm going to give away one of my like little
okay.
shameful secrets. I wear Crocs. I know. Purple ones too. Um, but it's because they're actually like the most comfortable shoe I can wear on the farm, and I can transition from like getting my feet wet to being in hot sand and not like overheat, but not like I can't wear sandals because it's just not solid enough. So I wear Crocs, little purple Crocs.
I mean, if it works, why not? No judgment.
Yeah, but then like mud gets stuck in there, so then my feet are just like gross. It's
And I feel
terrible.
like Crocs have become the new Uggs because, like, for a while there, like, Uggs were like the maximum comfort shoe, and then all these people are like, I'm ashamed to admit it, but I like Uggs. Uggs are amazing. And then like they kind of weird, and like Uggs kind of, and then Crocs came
Yeah.
out, and
Yeah, Crocs came about, and then the funniest though, it was when they started making like the high-heeled Crocs. And that's when I was like, no, I draw the line there, man. Like, I'll
that,
wear the funky-looking garden shoes, you know, but that's as far as I go.
I saw this crazy TikTok that a guy did who's a shoemaker, and so he's got these like beige Crocs, and he's like sanding the bottom down, and then um, he ends up like very professionally attaching like 4x4 like rubber grip onto the bottom of it to make like outdoor.
Oh, well, that's
That
interesting.
that'd be probably pretty amazing at the farm.
I think so. I'm gonna have to work on that. Yeah,
JR
I
Photography
got it.
he says, I'm not gonna lie, that is Jess's fuck wearing Crocs.
Thanks, John. That is awesome. Yeah, I'm the kind of girl who wears Crocs and lots of plaid and jeans.
You gotta be comfortable.
You know, yeah. There's no makeup going on here. There's none of that fancy. I don't even know how to do my hair. Like I can do a ponytail and a braid, and I'm like, yay, I win today.
I mean, I'm in the same camp. It's pretty. I know how to do hair stuff, and the pandemic made it even worse because it's been
I
like
know.
a year and a half now since I've been to a barber. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
tried to go like
I
Adams, and it was bad. Sorry, what were you saying?
yeah. I was gonna say I actually cut my own hair. I
Nice.
haven't been to a hairdresser in forever, so every now and then, like after I shower, I'm just like snipping at the ends, like just a little bit, just a little bit. Does that even? Yeah, okay, I look good. We're good. I haven't attempted bangs or anything yet. I'm not gonna go too crazy here. I don't want to look like the 4-year-old who like just chops like their hair off. And
That's
but I have been trimming my own hair.
well, I've been doing that as well, like doing because like I do the sides and back trim, but
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
the poof has been I've left the poof now for most of last year. I made the
yeah.
mistake of shaving my head, and some people look really good that way. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah. Oh. But
Yeah.
I think that looks good though. I like it. I like that it's all like crazy and curly and
So
wild.
the thing that's weird though now, it's reached a certain height that when I'm doing Zoom calls for work and I have the virtual background on, it makes me
Yeah.
look bald because it like
Oh no.
and
It just disappears into the background.
yeah, it disappears in the background, and I'm like, what the shit right now? So I'm just like, maybe it's time to get a haircut soon. Now that like COVID basically doesn't exist in British Columbia, which is weird. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's uncomfortable. But
It is. It is, right? It's so weird.
how is it over there?
Well, since Montreal's in the playoffs, it's it's kind of like COVID never existed. Yeah, yeah, but it's like in the country, I'm safe. I don't worry about myself out here. Small town Quebec, it really isn't all that crazy. We all kind of stayed to ourselves and everything. Like all the farms around us too were like total lockdown. No one could go visit. Even like people that would work on the farms, like they had to be extremely careful and stuff because no one can afford to get sick.
Yeah, because
You know,
that's
you're if you're a farmer and you get sick, your crops die, and it's like there's nothing I can do about that because I was sick.
yeah.
So yeah, but the city itself it's always been a little crazy, anyways. Like that's the thing. As much as I love cities, I also get extremely claustrophobic being surrounded by so many people all the time. So, like certain neighborhoods, you're like, I don't want people to get too close to me.
Especially now, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I thought the theme song for last year for me was "Don't Stand So Close to Me" by the Police. Yeah, I wanted to get that like made as a T-shirt.
You, you still can.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Still, even if COVID's over. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I think eventually we'll all kind of settle into something that will seem more normal, I guess, and
Hopefully,
I
yeah.
think we'll get at ease with it again. Yeah.
Montreal is an interesting city though. Like I miss being able to visit it. Um, some of
Yeah.
my favorite photos I took out there.
Yeah, I love Montreal. It's other than New York City, like Montreal's my favorite.
I
I
miss,
know I'm biased. I grew up here, but
that's fair. Well, I mean, the architecture is really cool.
yeah.
So much great food. Um,
I know.
like
Like that's the one thing Quebec is known for is like its restaurants. Like we are restaurant people here, like from breakfast, lunch, supper, everything. Like we love our restaurants out here. Yeah.
yeah, and they're so great. Uh,
Yeah.
like I had a friend that she's recently moved out of the country, but she lived down by that big market. Um, fuck, I can't remember what it's called now. Um, it's kind of like Toronto St. Lawrence Market.
Oh, Kensington?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was cool. Like she lived right around there, and there were so many cool like restaurants all around there too that we go explore all the time, and like so much good food. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I miss it.
Ugh.
Out of curiosity though, so how did you get your start in photography? Like what drew you into it?
Okay, so this is kind of a bit of a long-winded story. Because I got my first camera when I was 9 years old. For my ninth birthday, my parents bought me a little Vivitar point and shoot
Oh,
because they said it was like the most dummy-proof camera they could find. And not because I was a dummy, but just because I was a child
yeah.
and they didn't want me playing with their cameras and ruining anything. So they were like, here, play with this piece of plastic and enjoy it. So I took that thing with me everywhere. It was always loaded with Kodak Gold or Kodak Max back then. I think now it's Ultra Max, but back then it was just Kodak Max. Um, and I just brought it everywhere, all through high school. I would take pictures of everyone around me and stuff. I even brought it when like in Quebec, we have Cégep, so it's kind of like our interim before university, but after high school.
Okay.
So it's kind of like I don't know what the equivalent is, but I guess kind of like a college before university or something. And so it's usually 2-year programs because we finish high school at 17. So when I moved out to Cégep, I brought that camera with me as well. And then that's when I don't know how I didn't know about black and white film before, but that's when I started discovering black and white film because it was on sale in the school bookstore.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, cool. I could do that. And I would always drop my stuff off at like Pharmaprix or whatever pharmacy was around. I never developed myself. And then when I went on to university, that's when I decided to take some photo classes as my electives, and they were darkroom based, like heavily in the darkroom. So I started learning about printing, spot toning, all that stuff, and that's when I really fell in love with it. But around that time, that was probably about like 2008 was when I graduated. So 2009 was when I bought my first digital camera. And
We don't judge digital here.
no, I know. Of course not. But because that, like then where I was living, the town I was living in, it was a smaller town, and so all the labs were closing up and stuff, and so I didn't know I could still do film. I wasn't equipped to do it at home. I didn't even know how to set myself up at home at first. So it was only when I moved to Montreal, which would have been about 7 or 8 years ago, I think, that I started realizing that there was like a vibrant film community still there. And I started going to dark rooms again and printing and all that. And so I would say probably from about 2014 on is when I really started to take it seriously. I bought my Mamiya RB67 and I just haven't looked back since then.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a tank of a camera.
It is. I love her. She is my big, beautiful beast. And I've actually even named her. It's Roberta. So me and Roberta go everywhere. Yeah.
Aw, that's
Yeah.
cute, Roberta.
Yeah. I named some of my cameras. The ones that just kind of come to me, like every now and then, I'm like, oh yeah, you're that. I got an Olympus stylus. at like a thrift store the other day. So I actually named that one Miley Stylus.
That's
just just because I was like, yeah, that fits.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
named my like ride or die cameras. So like
yeah,
there's a
exactly.
couple that I will never get rid of. Those ones have names. Like this guy, this is Woodrow, the F5.
Oh, nice.
Um yeah, and then like a few of the other ones have names too, but
Yeah.
I need to get rid of some cameras. I have too many of them.
There's no such thing as too many cameras. That's,
Eh,
I know, but it's funny because a lot of people say that, and then I just think like, first of all, I don't want to deal with people. Like, if I'm gonna get rid of anything, it's got to go to someone I know.
yeah.
Like I've got cameras that, of course, I don't use. Someone gave me a Nikon, I think it's like an F50 or something like that, like one of their later entry model film cameras. And I'm like, probably never going to use this, but um, my niece is getting into photography. So I
Perfect.
was like, so we started her off with an Instax mini camera because she's 10 years old. So we're like, we'll start her off slow. Except Instax minis are actually kind of difficult to use if you when you're starting out. It's kind of funny that an instant camera is difficult, but it's actually true. But yeah, so that camera's going to go to her when she's ready for it, and so I'm kind of earmarking where cameras might go if I get rid of anything.
That's good.
Um, but I'm just so scared to have the regret of giving away a camera or selling it and then wanting to buy it back again.
That's a tough one because like I had
Because
a
that's
Nikon
who I am.
I had a Nikon 35 Ti, and it was like a total object of desire. Like I wanted it because it's so beautiful, and I shot some rolls with it, and then I was like, I fucking hate the autofocus on this thing. It's so annoying. But it was so
Yeah,
beautiful, and I'm just like, they're so fucking expensive now, and
I
like,
know.
you know, I took a loss on it because the kid gave me a really good story, and I was just like, well,
Uh,
obviously it's going to a good home, and you gave me a really good story, so I'll sell it to you. But then is like almost like immediately I was just like, oh my god, I've made a huge mistake because I'm
yeah,
never gonna be able to find that camera again at the price
yeah,
I paid for it.
yeah. See, that's what I'm scared of. I'm so scared that I'm just going to be like, oh no, I want the camera back, and now it's $1,000 more than it was when I sold it. So
Right?
yay, yeah.
Crazy how expensive cameras are getting. Like,
I know.
when I bought my F5, I got it for $250 from like a weird Asian dude at a Tim Hortons. It was very sketchy. Um,
Okay. Sorry, I'm laughing because that's almost my story with Roberta.
really?
we drove up to we drove up to Laval, and
Yeah.
we parked beside a Tim Hortons dumpster, and it was this Quebecois guy who actually like took apart like old studios, like when they went like closed up or whatever. He would take them down and then sell everything off in bits, and so that's how I got Roberta behind that Tim Hortons dumpster. Like, how Canadian can you get?
Super Canadian. I've done
I don't even drink Tim Hortons.
you shouldn't. It's like toxic. Like it's
unless you're having digestive issues.
yeah, but then like does it help that sometimes? Like it's still you're still rolling the dice with it. Like
It's true. It's true.
I mean, if there's ever a day where I'm feeling really bad about myself and I want to feel worse, then I'll go get a double double.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's like more camera deals than I'd like to admit have happened in a Tim Hortons. It is very. Oh, Tim Hortons for you Americans would be like Dunkies, like
Yeah.
like a Dunkin'
Yeah.
Donuts kind of thing, except Dunkies is better. Um,
Yes.
I guess maybe it'd be like going to an AM PM and buying coffee that had been out for most of the day, as well as donuts that had been out for most of the day.
Yeah. Although at Tim Hortons they actually like put the time that they made the coffee, and I'm like, are you people just lying? Is that number correct, or is that like 12 hours ago?
I mean, it's an imaginary time. They're just like, this seems right. Let's,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. We'll
we'll,
just say it was 5 minutes ago. We're good.
yeah, exactly. We'll just wipe that off and, done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's pretty suspect.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You can
Oh no,
continue your story now.
it's just wild how expensive things have gotten. Because like
Yeah.
I bought this F5 like 4 years ago now, and now they're going for like $600, and
Yeah.
like yeah, I fucking hipsters, man.
Okay, so maybe I'm not gonna argue that point, but it's so funny because whenever I'm on Facebook, people always blame hipsters and YouTubers, and I'm like, hey,
Yep.
like I'm kind of both. Like I don't know if I'm a hipster necessarily, but I do wear plaid. I do drink beer from a can, and, and I do listen to vinyl. But that's because I grew up with it.
That's
And yeah, I grew up with vinyl. I grew up with film. Like we didn't know digital. Like I grew up
I,
in the
I grew up
80s.
with that too. There's my record player there.
There you go.
I
There you go.
I grew up with
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah, and I grew up with books, not like an e-reader and stuff like that. So, I mean, I consider myself a hipster in that sense, if that's the definition of a hipster.
Well, but I mean, you actually work on a farm though, and like,
Yeah.
you, it's not just like, you do graphic design, but you ironically wear like, all these like sort of like farm styles and stuff because
It's
like,
it's funny because Jody and I talk about it, and we're like, it's almost cultural appropriation, farm culture. I mean, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but we're like, we wear plaid because it's like what is made for farmers.
yeah, that
That or those like
like
blue jumpsuits, but I haven't gotten to that point. I don't think they make them my size.
they would, yeah, I think
Like
they
I'm pretty short. I'm like 5 feet tall. So I don't know if they make them this small. I'd have to get like the child size.
You'll just have to get one custom made for you, and then
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And then I'd probably destroy it in like 5 minutes because I'm really rough on everything on the farm.
see,
So
it,
yeah,
I have some struggles with the YouTube stuff because like some content can be really great, but
yeah,
most of it just seems repetitive.
yeah,
And then also like
yeah,
um, a friend he coined it as like dude perfect. Like most of these YouTubers are like dude perfect kind of guys, where it's like getting that like dude perfect shot kind of thing, and getting those likes and stuff, and it feels like a lot of a bro down for the most part. Like as a female YouTuber, like what are your thoughts and what have your observations been, breaking out on there?
yeah. It's a little tough. So when I first started my channel, I guess it was 3 years ago now, something 3 or 4, 3. I was actually inspired by Casey Neistat.
That's
I used to watch his daily vlogs, and I love his channel.
me
And he had these really inspirational videos of like do more. And at one point, he had one video. I can't remember the guy's name right now, but he had like the CEO or CFO or something of YouTube on for an interview on his channel, and that guy was saying we want more female-run content.
yeah.
And I was like, wow, so there's like there's a space for me then. Like you're basically telling me, hey, you're a woman, start a channel. And I was like, all right, this could be interesting. I don't know how many female film photographers were on YouTube at the time when I started, because all my content that I watched was actually like men. I watched a lot of Thomas Heaton, Ben Horn, Matt Day, and I didn't really branch out at the time, so I just kind of started my channel a little blindly in that aspect. But I knew that I wanted to try to do something different from all the other content. I didn't want to be repetitive. I didn't want to just do gear reviews, because as far as gear reviews go, like Matt Day's got that covered. You know, like I no, but it's true. Like I can't do a review like that. Um, and I don't want to. Those aren't really the kind of videos I want to do. But I love cameras. And I'm really enthusiastic as soon as I get a new camera, and I'm like, I can't wait to use it and to show it, and just be out in the field with it. And so I just kind of wanted to make a channel that like inspires people to get out, rather than like, here's how to do this, or this camera's great because of this. Like I just use the cameras that I use because I love them.
Yeah.
That's literally it. There's nothing, I don't go for them. I don't go for this one because it's got special bells and whistles, or this one not. Actually, the more mechanical and the less buttons and things I have to push, the better. Except the RB, it's funny because it's not, like, nothing's coupled, so I have to, like, crank the film myself, set the shutter myself, and stuff. But anyways, it's still manual, so I digress. But it's been a bit of an interesting journey. My first video took off. I came in at just the right time. I did a video comparing Kodak's P3200 with Ilford's Delta 3200 because P3200 had just come back out. And I was like, this is my chance to do something. And my second video was also a like film comparison kind of thing. And then I quickly kind of realized that I like doing those videos, but they're very intense, so I kind of wanted to branch off. And so then I kept branching off onto other things. And in the meantime, my channel has been growing, and I have over 5,000 subs. Like, that's absolutely incredible for me. But it is a little hard to sometimes watch some of the guys go on, start up this new channel, and it just, like, explodes. And I'm not saying they don't deserve it. I'm not saying I deserve it more, but I'm just saying, and I know I don't always put in the work that they do. Like, I don't do weekly, I don't do vlog style, I don't do reviews, I don't have a Leica M6,
Well,
no, but it's true. I don't have an X-Pan.
Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know, right? Actually, I had to cheap out, and here we go. And I got myself a press pan. So it's a Nikon FE body that has been machined out to shoot panoramic using a Mamiya press lens. And yeah, and like it's all like to hold the lens in, it's 3D printed. The grip is 3D printed. I can keep a spare roll of film in the grip. It's really freaking cool. Such a cool camera. So this is my version, my X-Pan alternative.
The closest I've gotten to a Leica so far is I have a Leica Sofort, which is the Mini.
I wanted to get one of those actually.
Actually,
because they looked really cool.
It's actually really dope. I don't think I would pay the like $1,000 they charge for them brand new.
Yeah.
But some dude was selling it for $150 on Craigslist, and I'm like, you sir obviously have no idea what you have on your hands. I will gladly
exactly.
You. And it's pretty dope. I gotta say I like it, but that's as far as the red dot goes for me. And then I've got a Zorky Leica 3 ripoff, which is
I was actually looking at getting one of those.
It's great. I 100% recommend it. Like, here.
Yeah.
A sec. Yeah, it is such a cool camera. And it looks like, if someone doesn't know, it looks like you're walking around with a Leica.
With a Leica, yeah.
Yeah, except it's got the acrylic on top there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But it's really, like, most of them seem to be built pretty well. It has like a Almar 50 ripoff, so it's
that's cool.
3.5 to 3.5 to 16, but the photos it takes are amazing. Like, I didn't think I would like this camera as much as I ended up liking it, but for like $100 camera, it's awesome. The only thing I don't like, and I wish I could find the next model up that has like the side lugs, is the only way to for it. You got to put like I have a thing that goes in the tripod socket where I can have like a wrist strap. That's the only annoying part. But really great camera. And if you're okay with rangefinders, it works really well.
Hmm.
And,
Well, Jody actually got himself a Leica 3F
oh, nice.
not too long ago. So he, I steal all his stuff. So he's with his Leica, he's understandably a little bit more careful, we'll say,
So what you're
because I can.
saying is, you have a Leica 3 now, and
No, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't. That's absolutely his camera. But I fell in love with that camera so much that I was actually talking with John Meadows,
nice.
and oh, and I saw he popped in. So hi, John. And he actually has a Leica 3A that he's going to sell me later
Nice.
this summer. So
Well, if
yeah,
you're
so
doing
that would be my Leica.
you don't need to bother getting a Zorky then. You're set.
I know exactly,
Yeah.
but it was so close to being a Zorky. It was
They're
like this close.
they're great cameras. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
would knock them. Yeah, I've been very, very happy with it.
Yeah.
Um, Also, you made it into a book this year.
I did. I have it right here. Yay! It's
Yeah,
such a beautiful book. Oh my God.
it is. Becca did
I, I
a fantastic job.
I'm like so thrilled to be part of this. Yeah, it was incredible.
So, for those of the listeners out there that may not be familiar with this, the book we're referring to is the Northern Film Collective, Volume One. So a friend of mine, Becca, she started the Northern Film Collective, which is to promote Canadian film photographers and Canadian film photography. And one of the ideas she had was to do a yearly volume of Canadian photographers. And Jess happened to be one of the Canadian photographers that submitted some photos and made it into the 2021 volume.
Yeah, that was really cool. I am so happy to have been a part of this project, and I really hope that there will be a volume two.
There will.
Not because I'm not gonna submit. I'm gonna let other people submit.
You should
Because it was just such an honor.
You should
Sorry,
still,
what?
you should still absolutely submit. Don't not submit because um the hope is to do even a bigger, better book this
That's
year around, and get more photographers in it. So I think like we had 70 odd photographers in it for volume
mhm.
one. It'd be cool to get that like over 100. And
Yeah, that would be cool.
so, like if we're getting the same people submitting along with new submissions, it would be cool to see how people's work is progressing over time too.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So don't be shy, definitely.
All right, all right.
Um,
I'll work on something new. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, for any of you that are interested, you could check out northernfilmcollective.ca. That has some info about the collective and also information on when we'll be doing the next book. And we're running a fundraiser right now for the Kamloops First Nation with the discovery of the mass grave there recently. So we've got a print run that we're doing with the a local film photographer, Fear and Loathing 35 millimeter. Dylan donated a few images that we're offering as prints right now, and all proceeds we're going to donate to the Kamloops First Nation. So you can check that out on northernfilmcollective.ca as well too.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Sorry for the little advertisement plug in the middle there.
No, that's really good. That's really good. I don't know. I like it so.
Yeah, it's been a really weird time with all of that because yeah, it's sort of Canada's done a very good job of hiding this darkness that we have here,
Yeah.
the insidious heritage of Canada. Um,
Hmm.
and it's been interesting talking to my friends outside of Canada and like, explaining to them what's going on, and they're just like, "What? That happened in Canada? Like, you know,
Yeah.
you guys are supposed to be the good place." And it's like, "Yeah, well,
Yeah.
about that."
Yeah.
not, not so.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's just
It's it's really disheartening.
it is.
Um, and it's really disheartening the amount of people that would continue to throw it under the rug. Um, you know, kind of scares me a little for the future of humanity if you can't recognize like the atrocity of this and acknowledge that, you know, that you're just like, nope, I didn't see it happen, so, or I didn't do it.
Well, and the thing that's sad with it too is it's still happening,
Yeah.
and that I think is the most tragic part of it is I think a lot of people tend to assume if they even know about residential schools is that
Mm-hmm.
the whole program ended when they closed the last school in 1996, which wasn't
Yeah.
that long ago. Like I was just going into high school when the last one closed. Um, they just shifted because they found out that it was just too expensive to run the residential schools. So they shifted to leveraging more of the foster care program, and like they're still continuing to take children from
Mm-hmm.
reservation and put them into foster care, and continue the genocide against indigenous communities. So it's
Mm-hmm.
a bit of a misnomer when people are like, "Oh, Canada's dark past." It's like, no, it's Canada's dark
It's
present.
Canada's dark present. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like there were even news reports of indigenous women that would go to a hospital to give birth and would come back out and found out they had been sterilized.
yeah, and their kids have been given away basically.
And I was like, are you kidding me? Like this can actually still happen? But you know, I'm surprised and I'm not. You know,
Yeah,
and especially in Quebec, like we actually, well, I say we, I shouldn't say we because I don't believe that. But in Quebec, like there are a lot of people that, again, just want to, like even our premier just wants to like forget it ever happened. And there was the death of an Indigenous woman, I think it was last summer, in a hospital, and like that story was just cruel and horrifying, and no one's owning up to anything. And I'm
yeah.
like, this keeps happening. She's not the only one, you know, and it's just so sad.
That one was super sad because like the nurses were throwing racial slurs at the woman and stuff, and like
Yeah.
no one helped her, and like she passed away in
No.
their care, which should never
Yeah.
happen. Like that's
No.
and then there was a priest in Mississauga that came out that's like, well, everyone should think about the good that the church has done, and I'm like,
Sorry.
when?
Sure.
Yeah, I grew up as a Roman Catholic kid. I know all about the Inquisitions and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, when in history has the Catholic Church
Have they really done good?
been good? Like, as long as you're not on the side that is being conquered, you're okay. Like, it's
Yeah.
just that it's
I
kind
mean,
of
they do give away free wine at mass.
yeah,
So, okay, I'm sorry. Now I think I might be starting to sound like an alcoholic. I really don't drink that much. Like, oh, Jess goes to church for the free wine. No.
so I used to be an altar boy, and we used to steal the blood of Christ sometimes. Only because we saw the priest do it, so we're like, if he's stealing the wine, we can steal it too.
Why
Like,
can't we? Yeah.
exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
there's an inequality here, and we're gonna fix that.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting time for Canada, I think, because COVID has really, I think, fired a lot of people up to stand up more,
Hmm.
and it's waking people up at the atrocity of things, like not even just like
Hmm.
the issues with Indigenous, but just the other day, the purging of homeless from Trinity Bellwoods in Toronto. Like,
That's yeah.
that's
We
insane.
we we had an encampment in Montreal too that just got taken out like I guess about a month ago or something maybe. My idea of time is a little skewed, so it could have been like 2 or 3 months ago even, but it wasn't that long ago. And I can't believe how many cops like just line up to take all these homeless people away from what little bit of home they have. You know, they're living in a freaking tent. This isn't luxury,
Yeah. And like,
you
what are you?
know?
You're just clearing it out so people could go get wasted in Trinity Bellwoods. Like, let them have the park. There's
Yeah.
lots of other parks. There's lots of other places privileged people can go to. Like,
Exactly.
why? And it was like so sad too, like seeing the photos of like the people in hazmat suits throwing away people's belongings, and you just see these clear bags with like people's lives in them that are just getting
Yeah.
thrown into dumpsters, and it's just like really like you're taking away a place for them to try and survive, and then you're throwing out their belongings. Like,
Literally throwing out the only little bits of anything they own.
yeah,
It's,
it
yeah,
and
that's
the
a
amount
situation that bums me out too.
yeah, it is, and it's just like it's insane when you look at how much like a city like Toronto spends on policing, and it's like why? Like there's a
Yeah.
figure floating around that it's like Toronto spends about $3 million a day on policing,
Hmm.
and it's just like why? Like, do they need that much? And that 3 million every day could go to like bettering the population. And if they were to help more people out, that would probably reduce a lot of the need for the policing to begin with. Like, policing doesn't help at all; it just exacerbates the issue. Well, and yeah. So Chris says here the problem with building homes and shelters is that it doesn't work for all homeless people. There's some homeless
Hmm.
whose issues are simply not, and that's fair. But the reason they don't want to
Yeah.
live in shelters because there's a lot of rules that gets imposed on them in shelters,
Yeah.
and it's almost less human for them to be living in some of those shelters because
Yeah.
so they there's so many restrictions around it of things they have to do, and it's like what they really should be doing is just like letting them have spaces to live and not restricting them in what they can do,
Yeah.
like saying that like okay, well, you can have this room in this like hotel that we've taken over but you can't do drugs. Okay, well, they're going to do drugs anyways, so now you're
Yeah.
forcing them to either do it by themselves and not have other people watching out for them, and they'll potentially like OD on their own, or you're going to just
Hmm.
force them out where they're like, okay, well, if you're going to make me follow these rules, fuck it, I'll just go back on the street, and that's not going to
Yeah.
thing. Like it's
Like even like in Montreal, I think it's the brewery mission. And I mean they do these shelters do a lot, and I think they do what they can. There's always room for improvement, but like there's a rule where you can't leave the shelter at any time. As soon as you get your bed, you get in there, that's it, you stay. So if you wanted to smoke a cigarette, tough luck. If you want to keep your bed, you have to stay inside at all times. So, like stuff like that can be really difficult. And I think that for a lot of homeless people, that's the thing, like you're talking about doing drugs and stuff. A lot of them are addicted to substances, and they are addicted to substances for multiple reasons that a lot of us probably can't understand.
yeah.
And the thing with addiction is that it changes your entire personality. It just turns you into someone else completely. So you're completely unrecognizable to anyone around you. And if you end up on the streets, like you can't help it. You can't, to say like, oh, just take the drugs away from them or anything. Like you can't do that. You
No,
can't do that. Their system is so hardwired that they need those to survive. So we need systems in place to wean them off and help them get better. And we don't have that.
no, we don't have that. And like
Yeah.
Chris also comments here, when he was homeless, he had to listen to sermons before they were given 2-day-old donuts. Like, come on, we're starving, just be charitable. The Catholic
Wow.
line, they would just let you have stuff, but then the evangelical mission was like an Amway sales pitch.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, like there's what I can't remember what country it was, but they basically like eliminated homelessness by just giving everyone a place to live.
I
Um,
think that was the state of Utah.
no, it wasn't Utah. It was in Europe somewhere. Um,
Oh, Norway?
yes, Norway. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they just gave everyone homes, and what ended up happening was once people had home bases with no restrictions around it, a lot of them were able to like get their lives back on track and like start paying their own
Hmm.
rent, do all this stuff because they just needed a stable place where they can
Yeah.
like have a shower and have their clothes somewhere where it could be clean and like
Hmm.
where they could just be humans, like just be
Yeah.
treated with decency. And I think that's the biggest problem that we're facing here in Canada right now is we're just not showing basic human decency to these other human beings.
Yeah.
Like, the way that the city of Toronto and the police in Toronto have been attacking these people
Yeah.
is fucking disgusting and inhumane.
Yeah.
Um, and like you were absolutely right too. Like, when people are deep in an addiction, it does change them, and they you can't just be like, well, we're going to take the drugs away and it's going to solve everything. It's like, no, you can't just take
Mm-mm.
drugs away. Like, they're taking those drugs, or they're using those substances for a reason, and they need help working through that reason. And having a
Hmm.
stable place is a great first step, but then also giving them tools to support that so that they
Yeah.
can have access to therapy, have access to the care that they need.
Yeah.
That's where we could be spending money instead of spending millions of dollars on more policing, where
Yeah.
we're giving a badge and a gun to someone that maybe just barely made it through high school, but now they have to, like, make the choice of whether or not you get to live.
Yeah.
And like, it's something that terrifies me because, like, I deal with a lot of mental health issues, and it's just like, if I ever needed help, I don't know if I'd want anyone to make that call for me because, like, I might not survive
Hmm.
that call, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and that's a scary thing
Yeah.
to think about. Like,
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that got heavy.
And yeah, it's okay. Just one last thing too is like I also understand that there's not like a one size fits all answer to this problem.
No.
Like even when it comes to addiction, you can't just put everyone through AA or NA or whatever it is. That's not the solution. That might work for some, it's not going to work for everyone. And so we really need to figure out a way how to kind of like tailor make a system for like that encompasses everyone. Like I remember when I used to work in downtown Montreal, on my way to work in the morning, I'd always leave early because there's this one guy. He wasn't homeless, but he was living in subsistence housing or whatever, like subsidized
Yeah.
house. That's it. So subsidized housing. And he said he was begging for money because he wanted to be able to buy a cell phone so that he could actually send out CVs to get a job. But he couldn't do that until he had a phone. And they don't give you a phone. They give you a bed and a kitchen, but you have to supply everything. And so by the time his check would, everything would clear through the month, all his bills and stuff, he didn't have enough money to get a phone. So he was on the streets asking for money. And he'd cleaned himself up. He was like, I think he was like maybe mid 50s or something. And he had stopped all his drugs, stopped drinking, and he was really trying to make an effort. And like, it was nothing for me to just stop and give him like whatever I had, toonie, a loony, or whatever. Sometimes I bring him food and I just sit and chat with him. And, you can't do that with everyone.
No.
But I was like, I can do this with one person at least, I can sit and learn his story and maybe try to understand a little more. Like I'm lucky I was able to have a job and pay for an apartment barely, but I have that privilege. And so it's nothing for me to just stop, take 5 minutes out of my day and talk to this guy and maybe put it, and he always had a big smile on his face. And I was like, if you can have a smile on your face, like I can get through my crap in my life. And that's also not always true. Sometimes what's going on personally can, whatever emotions you're living, that's totally valid as well. But I was like, yeah, I think I can suck it up a little bit. And, there are people like this who are actually trying to get help and can't.
Yeah, and like, Chris says here, phones are critical to vulnerable people, and that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Like, having a
Yeah.
stable place where they can, like, sleep well, stay, like, keep up their hygiene, don't have to worry about being robbed or like anything like that or
Hmm.
harmed. But having
Or
access,
beaten up.
yeah, having access to communication as well is a huge thing.
Yeah.
But then also just like treating people, like,
Yeah.
that's great that
What?
you
What did that stop being a thing? You know, like when no, but it's true, you
um,
know, like
the
it's really silly,
1980s.
but the hashtag shoot film be nice, like that's my favorite hashtag of all time. It was Rachel from the Sunny 16 podcast who started that.
Right.
And like, I swear I live my life by it. Like, it's so easy to shoot film and be nice. And so it's like, why can't we treat humans like humans?
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. Like, one of my favorite things to do when I'm wandering around is I like to give random people Instax portraits. Um,
That's cool.
yeah, and it's just like if like it's a couple and they seem to be like having an interesting moment, I'll be like, "Hey, do you guys want like a portrait of this moment?" Or, if there's a dude that looks interesting or something, or just like anyone that looks interesting, like, I'll offer them one and chat with them a bit. But yeah, I think the 1980s is when people stopped kind of like being
Yeah.
nice to each other, and when things just became really focused on just like getting more possessions and getting more stuff and all of that instead of having community. Um,
Hmm.
so I think that was something that started like waning a bit like through the 80s and 90s. Um, and maybe the digital revolution had something to do about that because like you can now stay connected to people without actually seeing them versus like before, like
Hmm.
you pick up the phone but no one really liked picking up the phone, so you like walk over to your neighbor's house and knock on the door and be like, hey, what's up, you want to do a coffee or something? Or when you're a kid you like run over to your friend's house and you like
Yeah.
knock on the door, or like you just know like on Saturdays at this time you can usually catch all of your homies at the convenience store or something. Like we were just more connected as people before, like at a physical level, not just at like a
Hmm.
sending a text being like, hey, you good? Like,
Yeah.
uh, and it's interesting, like I kind of feel like as technology has connected us more, and I'm very grateful for technology that has allowed me to do things like this, like to have the photography chat and talk to different people every week, and it's like given me lots of great friendships as well. Um, it's also, I think, a double-edged sword because, like, like you'd mentioned, uh, from a creator perspective, where it's just like you have 5,000 subs on your YouTube, but then some dude perfect bro gets on there and he fires up like a YouTube channel and has like 100,000 people in like 3 months, and you're just like, the hell, like what's that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And so it's like sometimes social media can also make you feel kind of bad, and then you do the whole comparison thing. So it's just,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I don't know. We need to find balance again
Yeah.
and build communities, and
Yeah.
in all senses of it. Like, you know, if building communities will help with like homeless issues and will help with addiction issues, and
Hmm.
like all the things that are plaguing us right now. Like having a community will help with that, and that's one of the things that I've really liked about the photography world so far is I've managed to tap into some um, really great communities through photography and through film.
Hmm.
Um, we just need more of that in our like neighborhoods and our cities and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, for sure, without the digital revolution or whatever, um, I wouldn't be talking with you right now,
yeah,
let's say. Or, I wouldn't have met all like the really cool people that I've been meeting along the way. And so, while I really enjoy that online community and that online presence and stuff, I do miss just like taking a walk with someone who isn't my fiance, or my in-laws. Like it'd be nice to see people again, see my friends, but also like meet up in real life. Like the classic camera revival guys. I've I've been chatting with Bill and John and Alex for, over a year now and stuff. And it would just be so cool. It's a 7 hour drive to get to Toronto, and it would be so cool to just like meet up. But, for sure the pandemic kind of took that away a little bit. But I'm hoping that we can all kind of, bring that back together, make it more local or meet
Yeah,
up more in person. Yeah.
and yeah, it'd be nice. Like, the classic camera guys are awesome, and gals.
Yeah.
I had a really great chat
Yeah.
with them a few weeks back. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, James definitely does his homework on
Yeah.
things. Like, he blindsided me a bit on that chat.
Yeah. Yeah, they all do their homework. I'll admit, because I was on it last summer, and they had me on for a Mamiya episode and then a film episode. And I didn't know I was going to be on for the second episode at the same time. And so they kind of like blindsided me with that. And I was like, oh no, I don't know if I could do this because these guys are just like so pro and so technical and know their stuff so well that I was like, I just got nervous. Even though I know what I'm talking about, I was still like, oh no, what'd you guys do to me? But it was a lot of fun. And, they're always able to make you feel comfortable.
Yeah,
And yeah, they're good guys. They're good guys.
yeah, they are. It was a great chat. James
Yeah.
read through my blog, which surprised me a bit, because there's some pretty heavy stuff on there that I had totally forgotten about that James was asking questions about, and then we had an interesting conversation about Canadian film photographers.
Oh, yeah.
And he,
Yeah. Well,
and
yeah, we know that story.
that is a great example of what not to do with a community right there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Whether online or in person, just, yeah, it's just no.
yeah, yeah, like yeah, because his online persona is problematic, and I've also heard his like in person persona is like more problematic than his online one. So
Oh, that's yeah, that's
yeah,
fun.
um, yeah. So just don't be that guy.
No, no,
So
no.
you talked about the Mamiya and stuff like that, but what
Yeah.
got you to instant film?
So I was gifted, like I think it was like a Model One SX70, like
Okay.
1972 original, from a family friend, still in the original leatherette and everything.
Nice.
And yeah, and I just fell in love with it. Like some of my baby pictures are even on Polaroids. So I think that it was just kind of like always there for me. Like the love of like holding this little picture that comes to life in front of you. Although now you have to keep them in the dark, but back then you didn't have to. So I think that it was just kind of something that was always there. And then my real passion for it came when I got the SX70. And then I collected a few more throughout the years from like thrift stores and stuff. I have the one like the white with the rainbow on it up
Nice.
the middle. Yeah, yeah, that one's pretty cute. I like that. And then when I started realizing that I could get conversion backs to put onto my RB67, so I can actually shoot integral Polaroid film on my RB67, that just blew my mind. That's when I was like, this is exactly what I've been waiting for. Like, as much as I love my SX70, my results aren't consistent. I find it's almost like luck when I get a really good shot, whereas now I'm using the Mamiya, and I have the dreamy quality of Polaroid film that I love, but the sharpness with the lenses, and it just combines and makes like these really like I'm just in love with it. As long as I remember to take that stupid dark slide out. I always forget. I ruined half a pack of film because I forgot to take the dark slide out. And I thought there was something wrong with my shutter, or like I didn't know what, and I was freaking out, and then I was like, oh man, the dark slide. So yeah. So as long as I remember to do that, we're good to go.
I used to do that with my goose all the time. I would forget
Yeah.
the slide, and it's like,
Yeah.
damn it. Yeah.
Yeah, because shooting with the RB, you can't actually take a shot on their regular backs without taking the dark slide out. It blocks. It won't let you. So I'm used to that, and because the dark slide comes out the side as well, but on the Polaroid backs, it's on the bottom that you have to think to take it out. So I actually have two backs now. I have one that I got from a company called Reservoir that they don't make them anymore. But then there's another guy in the States, in Washington. He runs a place called Analog Studio, and he still makes them. And he actually 3D prints a little like check dark slide reminder. So I have this like bright red strip on my back saying like don't forget your dark slide. And I'm like, ah, thank you. Like that is genius, man.
That's quite brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't messed around with that yet. But I do sometimes when I'm shooting pack film on the 4x5, I'll forget to pull the dark slide out of the film holder, and it's just like,
Yeah.
and that hurts even more
Especially
because the
because
pack film shot.
exactly, like at least the Polaroid, I mean, yeah, okay, it's $4 a shot. So, it hurts a little bit, but it's not pack film. If I was doing that with pack film, I think I would just like stop shooting. I'd be like, no, okay, Jess, you obviously don't deserve this. Put this away. But that is something that I do wish I had gotten into. I wish I had learned about that all a little bit earlier because I could have bought a Polaroid back for my RB that takes the pack film, or I could have bought a Goose or something to be able to shoot it on, which would have been really really cool. But it doesn't exist now, so
Well,
I just haven't shot it, and I'll probably go to my grave not shooting it, and
well,
I'm okay with that. But
that's fair.
it, yeah, but if someone could bring it back,
There's there's a magic to it that like
yeah,
if you ever visit Vancouver, we'll set you up with a camera so you could give it a shot.
excellent,
Yeah,
excellent, that'd be cool.
because it's something you got to experience once at least.
Yeah. It just looks so cool. Like you actually like peel it apart and you have a photo and a negative. Like
Yeah.
how freaking genius is that, you know?
Well, it was genius, but people hated it back in the day because
Yeah.
for like most of its use was for light testing. So
Hmm.
that's why they had the backs for like the Mamiyas and the Bronicas and the Hasselblads and stuff is like before they shot the Precious Portra or the Fuji or whatever, they would test the lighting with the pack film. But then consumers that used the pack film didn't like that there was all that extra garbage. So when Polaroid invented the integral film, the positive and negative are all built into this guy,
Hmm.
which is super ingenious because it's just like um, the amount of layer, like the layer cake of like chemical process and everything that goes on in
Yeah.
this little tiny frame is just amazing. Like,
Yeah.
who would have thought?
Yeah. No, it's like for me, instant film is just so absolutely incredible. I it's so tangible. Yeah, I know it's called instant film for a reason, but it's instantly in your hands.
Yeah,
You can look at it, well, 5 to 10 minutes of being in the dark, and then you can hold it and look at it. You can give it to people. You can keep it for yourself. You can do emulsion lifts. You can, like there's all kinds of cool things that you can do with instant film. That's just so fun and so creative that makes it a little bit. It gives it that something special
yeah.
from regular like negative or slide film. But yeah, I think that's what I really like about it is just that it's got that I don't know that je ne sais quoi, you know.
The tangibility of it is what's special. Like,
Yeah,
being able to hand something like an image to someone right away is it's really magical.
yeah,
Chris asked about the Super Sense One Instant isn't that legit pack film, and it's not pack film because pack film kind of like it's in the name that you have film packed into it. So the one instant is just literally just one instant photo.
Yeah.
So it's in a
Yeah.
holder that fits into the pack film slot, but you only have one shot with it. And a lot of people are kind of salty about it because they're like, well, it's expired color positive. So it's like you're paying a lot of money for an expired film, basically. But that's only partially true. Like it is an expired color positive because it's hand cut color negative paper for Polaroid 20 by 24. But it's a brand new negative and it's a brand new developer and stuff like that Super Sense has been working with the 20 by 24 guys in Boston with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool. Like I've supported it. I've spent the crazy money to get the one instant shots, and I've liked the results from it. Like
Yeah.
it is weird, and the colors are kind of janky because it's old. But I mean, I can still use these old cameras that are supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
nice privilege.
Yeah, and I think just the fact that someone's working really hard to try to bring us something,
Yeah,
even if it's not exactly what we used to have, at least there's someone out there that is trying to bring something back for us. And that's
yeah,
what I think is just so cool. And that's why it's, even if it's expensive, that's why it's worth backing it. Like, unfortunately, I never have because I just don't have a camera that takes it. But, I have thought about it in the past. And I've also thought, like, I think I might get this a little confused. Jody always has to correct me on this. I can't remember if Super Sense are also the people. I think One Instant is different from the new 55.
yeah. So one Super Sense and One Instant are Dr. Caps who started the
It's
Impossible Project.
caps. Yeah.
New 55 is some dudes out in oh fuck, it's outside of Boston. Um,
Yeah.
I can't remember specifically, but
Yeah.
they're in like Massachusetts, and
Yeah.
that's a cool project too. Like the new 55
Hmm.
stuff is really neat because like they're working on the 4x5 sheet film instant,
Yeah.
and they're also doing ready load stuff as well too, which is really
Yeah.
cool because like if you shoot 4x5 um, and you're like me, you hate loading the film holders and adding stuff. Um, so like the fact that they have kind of brought back the um, the ready load for like Portra and Ilford and Tri-X and stuff like that is really cool. So the new
Hmm.
55 project is a really cool one to check out. And like that's the thing that's really neat with film right now is that there's so many like small companies that are like bringing some things back and working on new things, and it's a very interesting community from that perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I do get comments every now and then, like not necessarily about Polaroids specifically, but film in general. So, like, I did a video at one point where I shot Cosmo Photo Mono, and someone actually commented like, "Well, that's just for gullible people," and because it's just FOMA, rebranded FOMA, and I'm like, "Yeah, but I can't get. I at the time I couldn't get FOMA easily in Montreal, but I could get Cosmo at any shop." And this is a guy who, Steven has been working really hard to like build a community around it and who's trying to keep film alive and he's just trying to keep his dream going. And I'm like, that for me, that alone is worth supporting.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like all the people who like hate on all these companies who are either rebranding stuff or trying something new and it's not perfect, like just stop hating and just start shooting. Just pick up a camera, it'll make you much happier instead of sitting behind your keyboard and crapping on these companies. Like I think that's what I hate the most. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves because it's just like at least people are trying. I can't try. I don't know how to make a film emulsion. I don't know how to build a camera from scratch or machine out an FE body and turn it into something else, but someone else does. And it's so cool that people try.
Yeah, it's very cool that people try. Like, and exactly like if you like that, what when people complain about like, oh, Polaroid is shit and it's so expensive. Okay, then don't buy it. Don't shoot it.
Yeah,
Or like Super Sense is expensive and it's weird. Okay, don't buy it then. Yeah,
yeah,
Cinestill is just like, they're just buying Kodak and pulling the back off of it and charging you a bunch of extra money. It's like, okay, then don't buy it. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like more for me, you know? If that's where you're gonna go with this, like, fine. Just don't shoot it,
yeah,
But just on that point too, like just shoot whatever makes you happy. I don't care if you want to use your phone. I don't care if you want to use instant film, a digital camera, a film camera, only mechanical or only point and shoots, whatever it is that makes you happy and gets you out of the house or even around the house if you can't get out. Whatever gets you to pick up that camera and just take photos. Just do it.
yeah.
And I bet you all your complaining will just go away.
Well, I mean, some
Maybe not
people,
all. Maybe not all. I know.
yeah. There's some people that thrive on it, you know.
Yeah, I know. I see a lot of those in Facebook groups.
Uh, yeah, there's a lot of that on Canadian film photographers.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
like I don't get the digital hate. Because like to your point, use whatever allows you to be creative and express yourself.
Yeah.
Like, who cares what it is? Like, if you're creating something good, that's
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, oh my God, this is so much better because you shot it on film. Like, a good photo is going to be a good photo. Uh,
Exactly.
and just because you own a Leica M6 doesn't mean you're going to take bangers all the time. Like, you could delect
Exactly.
photos.
Yeah. And just because, like you shoot with an Olympus RC instead of a Leica, it doesn't mean you'll get worse photos because you're using the lesser camera or, like it doesn't matter what you use. Just take your vision and put it out there.
Yeah.
And I bet you people would be a lot happier. Some, not all, some. At least me. I
I
know
had
I know it helps me, so
I had an old boss who used to always say, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one.
everyone's got one.
Yeah, and everyone thinks theirs that doesn't stink.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like, yeah, like I kind of hate on like on chats and stuff like that where people are like, oh, like I'm getting into film, like what's the best camera I should get? And you just have like all of these like, the fucking shit from the coming out of the woodwork, and it's just like, how much money do you have? Spend that on a camera. That's the best camera to start
yeah,
off. Like,
yeah. I forget who said it, but the quote is like, "The best camera you have is the one you have on you."
yeah,
So just,
Brandy just wrote that in the chat.
oh, I think my chat doesn't work. I haven't seen anything come in for a while.
Oh, you might have to scroll up.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, look at that. Oh man, I missed all this. Sorry, guys.
it's okay.
So sorry. Oh no, I was about to comment. Me and technology are like, that's why I shoot manual cameras. Uh,
Yep.
yeah, I'm just gonna keep scrolling. Wow, I missed a lot. I'm so sorry, people.
Chris says,
Uh,
what camera did you use is today's how high can you ollie question to try and dismiss people. I can't ollie worth shit, so I'll totally admit that. I'm lucky if I can roll my fat ass around on the skateboard without killing myself.
I've actually never used a skateboard.
You
I said
haven't?
it. No.
They're pretty fun. I've been afraid to try and use mine again since the car accident because like my
Yeah.
brake meats have been very delicate, and my doctors advised that I don't get another concussion because that would probably be a bad idea. So it's just like,
Yeah.
this is what getting old is like. It's like you have to think about what are the things I could do where I'm not going to like hurt myself much more than I'm already damaged.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Getting old
sure.
is bad.
No, it's better to not push it at some point. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, do you have any projects that you've been working on, like film projects or like book ideas that you've been sort of mulling about or have in progress?
So I do have a book that I want to put out. I was supposed to work on it all winter, and I did not. Because this was supposed to be my winter off. Jody was working from home, and it was going to be my time to finally like organize everything and get myself together and actually put this book together. And then I ended up getting hired by Dora Goodman Cameras to do copywriting.
Oh, wild.
Yeah, so that was really cool, but I totally pushed my book thing aside, and then the farm picked up, and now it's the end of June, and I haven't started anything. They're scanned, but I have to rescan everything because it's not like super, like this project I shot 5 years ago. So when I was scanning, like me scanning 5 years ago is not me scanning today. I've gotten better, and also like with lightrooming and stuff. So I want to revisit everything and redo all the images that I want. But it's a project where I went out and photographed at as many festivals as I could find in the city of Montreal in 1 year. And I managed to get to 225 different festivals.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, so I shot over 100 rolls of film, so I've got like well over 3,600 negatives sitting there waiting to be something. And this year would have been perfect to put out a book like that because everyone wants to go back to festivals. Everyone wants to see that. And that would have been really cool. Like, I just feel like the timing would have been perfect, but I still hope that I can get it out by the end of the year. That would be a major, like, a lot of work at this point to get it done, but it'd be like a major win for me if I could get that done. That would be really cool.
You might be lucky because the Delta variant may also create a new lull for people wanting things. Because as we rush to open, well, the Delta rampaging
things are getting back in. That's it.
Yeah, so it may all work out in the end, anyways.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And then I do have a project that I want to start shooting, and it's actually kind of inspired by Chris Visser. He, before Christmas, was giving away 5 rolls of original Fujifilm Acros. And he was like, this is a contest, just tell me like the worst thing you could possibly do with this film. And because there was like a running joke between him and a friend that the worst thing you could do is put it through a Holga. And so I just commented and I said, I would shoot all 5 rolls just making like duck faces and like all those like silly selfie poses, like all the classic ones, and it would just be, I would turn it into a book and it would just be a book of me like making duck face and like kissing the camera and stuff like that. Of course I wouldn't do that, but not with that film. So I actually won the 5 rolls from him, and I really want to take that and use it to shoot the rural landscapes around here. It's something that I do usually every summer. I love photographing on the dirt roads around here and stuff, and so I want to take it and like do it like 100%, throw myself into it, do it on like good film. Not that other films aren't good, but Acros is just so special, and turn that into a zine or a book or something.
I still think you should do your original idea, but as Halation Station says here, with a Holga. So all the duck faces, all that stuff, but with a Holga.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That's actually pretty tricky too. Like Holgas are something that I love shooting a Holga, but it's pretty hit or miss sometimes.
They're not forgiving.
They're not. No, no.
So it sounds like you have more of appreciation for the black and white. What are your thoughts and feelings of the Cinestill XX in 120 now?
I cannot wait to get that film. I really wish that I wasn't super broke right now, because I just really want to buy that film. I can't wait to use it. I'm really excited that they're putting this out. And I mean, a new film, whether it's a new film emulsion or just a new format, I always get excited about that. So for sure, I can't wait to be able to try this film. It looks so great. I've actually been buying it from John Meadows. He buys bulk rolls and then reloads them into 35 millimeter canisters.
Yeah.
So I can't like, and I bought some and I haven't shot it yet, and it's driving me nuts. I have to get out there with it. I can't wait to use this film. And then, yeah, I have to buy some in 120. Trade some tea for film. Oh, I wish. That would be cool. Oh, you're so lucky. That's cool. I know I'm gonna get it. I just don't know when.
Like Halation Station says, though, it does cost a king's ransom. Like this is $20 Canadian a roll.
Yeah, well, that's what the 800T is.
Yeah, so it's not terrible, but and you can save money getting the like through John, like what John does there, doing the bulk roll 35 mil, but that won't happen with 120, sadly. Because the only reason this happened is because Cinestill buys master rolls of the double from Kodak, and so they can cut it down to whatever size they want. So what I'm really wanting is this in 4x5. That'd be friggin' amazing.
Okay,
right?
so I haven't shot 4x5 yet. I don't have a camera yet. I know I'm getting into large format. It's there. I know it. I just feel that the kind of photography I do, like the rural landscapes, the woods, like that will lend really, really well to 4x5. And actually, my secret dream is to get into 8x10 because I want to do contact prints. But it's so expensive. So expensive. Like everything is so much more expensive than 4x5. So I know I'll be getting into 4x5.
Well, and you should start with a 4x5 first to see if you even like large format. Because if
I've heard that.
4x5, then you can just sell all the 4x5 gear because it's easy to sell that stuff. But like 8x10 is a fucking insane investment. Like, it's wild. Everything's more expensive. Like I'm trying to make that break right now into 8x10, and it just makes me sad. Like Halation Station says, because I hate having extra money. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But large format, you should definitely try it. You'll hate everyone that told you to try it because you'll end up falling in love with it and being even more broke. And say hi to the kids for me. But yeah, I highly recommend it. 4x5 is a lot of fun.
I think it was Jason, Grainy Days, who did one of the best videos I've ever seen about learning how to shoot 4x5.
I watched the 8x10 video where he's just like, and then it happened, I shit my pants.
Like I'm a big fan of Matt Marash's channel too because he does like the large format Fridays and stuff, and I love that. And he's definitely like a big like inspiration for me in all of that. But when I saw those videos from Jason, I was just like, yeah, okay, I have to do it. I know I will never do a video as good as those, but I'm gonna have to get into 4x5 at least.
Yeah, he's one of the only YouTubers I can really...
Good night, Chris.
Bye, Chris.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's really one of the only YouTubers I can kind of get behind because his brand of humor is really sort of like on point with mine. Like it was fun having the chat with him because it was interesting. Like talking with that kind of humor, and he's also just like great, wicked talented. So he's an interesting cat. But like the film photography project guys are great too. They're a lot of fun, and I just can't handle the "What's up, guys?" Those who know, know. We'll just leave it at that. Any big plans for the YouTube channel at all, or?
Big plans? Yes. Yes. Some stuff I'm gonna keep under wraps for now. Not because it's like big secret, but it's just it's some stuff that I've been kind of like working on in my head for a long time. So I wanted to like make I guess a little splash. I don't know if it'll be a big splash, but yeah, I definitely have big plans. I'm hoping to take a trip this fall up the like Quebec shoreline. Like do there we have a couple national parks along the way, and then there's like the whole Gaspé coast that I've never done. So I'm hoping to get out there because fall will be like all the migrating birds and the volatile skies and choppy waters. So that's what I'm really looking for that area. And other than that, like I'm just kind of hoping to find the time to, like I have so many ideas. People have given me so much film, free cameras, free lenses, and I'm like, I have to thank them and do a video. So I at least have like ideas probably for like half a year or something of worth of videos. I just need to do them. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, I have lots of ideas, and I want to do some of like my more, I guess, generic, you could say, like, you know, going out with a roll of film and like emphasizing that roll of film or that camera or whatever. But I also want to start to do more conceptual stuff. Maybe kind of bring a little bit of like my personal, not personal thoughts into things, but just like, I guess, me, like who I am, but more conceptual. Yeah, I've got lots of ideas for that.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
For those people that may not be familiar with your YouTube channel out there, do you want to give it a quick plug?
Sure. So you can find me at Jess Hobbs. Pretty simple. And I don't really know what to say about my channel specifically. Like I said earlier, I just try to inspire people to get out and shoot. So most of my, or all of my videos are me out in the field using my cameras, whatever camera it is, whatever film it is. Sometimes I'm comparing films. My second video I put out had me wearing 3 Pentax K1000s around my neck. So I looked like ultimate tourist in Montreal. And I had like my videographer following me with with the camera. So people were probably like, "Oh my God, is she famous?" And I was like, and I'm like, "No, I just have a YouTube channel. That's all." But yeah, and sorry, what?
Just a little bit of a big deal.
No, not in. No. But that's okay. I don't want like one of those inflated heads, you know. I want to stay, yeah, I want to stay true to who I am, because I think that, I don't know, somehow along the way people seem to resonate with my enthusiasm and I guess passion for all things film photography, the way I talk about cameras, the way I take people through things. I'll teach people about like the history of the places that I'm in. You know, I did a fall series where I showed people what used to be the old town that was part of the farm like over 100 years ago, and there's still like old foundations buried in the woods that you can still find every now and then and stuff. So, you know, like I like to show stuff like that as well, so that it's kind of like not informative, like, yeah, like I'm not educational, but I'm kind of informative. And I just really want to inspire people to get out there and just shoot. That's what I want. So that's my channel. Yeah.
I like it. Well,
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with me on the chat here. We seem
Yeah, it
to
was a lot of fun.
a bunch of people dropping out here for nighttime.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta find some dinner myself.
All right.
But thank you for hanging out with me, and I'm really
Thank
excited.
you for.
Oh, sorry. Go
Sorry. We're both just jumping in on each other. I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me on. This was a lot of fun. I'll admit that I was a little bit nervous at first, being like live. Like I'm used to being in front of the camera, but I'm not used to like people just watching me right there. So I was like, oh, I'm a little nervous. How am I going to look? Am I, you know, how am I going to come across, but this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I love this. I love this show, like the format that you have with it, the Instagram Live, and then later on through like the podcast, like as a podcast, and
Yeah.
it's really really cool. Yeah. So
Thank you.
thanks for having me.
No, of course. Like, thanks for wanting to be on, and like, it's people like you and all of the people that tune in and then listen to the podcast later that continue this, whatever project this is to go.
Yeah.
I never really anticipated that this would grow to what it has and I'd be doing it for this long, but it's been really cool and humbling to, talk to all the different people I have talked to so far and just hear
Mm.
the different stories and share thoughts and learn new things. So thank you for being on here, and also to everyone for tuning in and spending this time with us. Time is the most valuable thing we have, so I'm appreciative of all your guys' time. And then next week we're going to have Chris Bartolucci joining us. Yeah,
I
which
love Chris.
Chris is fantastic.
Yeah.
I had the chance to meet her at the Film Padea in 2019 down in San Clemente.
That's
And
cool.
also like had a chance to meet like Chris Visser and all the
Ah, I love all of them.
yeah. Well, when the world opens up again, you'll have to make it out to one of the Film Padeas if the Darkroom Lab does it again.
100%. As soon as I know I can get anywhere safely, I've got like a good list of things to go to. As long as they happen, I'm gonna find a way to be there. Yeah.
You're gonna have to come to Polacon too, because like
I know. Oh, I know. I know. I'm super excited about that one too.
and that might be a this year thing, because like if the border opens up, Polacon is happening at the end of September, and they're talking about opening up the border at the end of July. So,
Interesting.
yeah, I'm getting my vaccine just in prep for it, so that if the border does
Yeah,
open up, I might make my way down there.
that's cool. I actually got to push up my second dose. So instead of September 15th, it's going to be August 2nd. And I'm like, yay, just get me on a plane. Get me somewhere.
I'm
Yeah,
doing mine next Tuesday, so that I'll be all
excellent.
double dosed and ready to mingle.
Excellent. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, thanks again for being on here, and looking forward to next week. And till then, everyone stay safe and stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
All right, have a great night.
Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Cheers.